Exciting Battle for Azeroth video. Today we are going to be taking a look at a very early version of the revamped Survival Hunter. When I say revamped, I really do mean it. This is a different spec to what we've played in Legion. So with Legion, Survival turns into a pure melee spec. A lot of people thought it was a bit weird that Hunters just suddenly forgot how to use a ranged weapon. So here, well, I think this speaks for itself. Yep. That is a ranged ability, and it's Serpent Sting, so it's back in a way that's a bit more traditional to what Serpent Sting used to be. So I just want to very quickly mention something that's extremely important here. This is a very early look at an identity for a spec that is entirely new. So when you take this and compare it to, say, a Destruction Warlock or a Fury Warrior or something like that, something that is well established coming out of Legion and is not seeing many changes, this of course will look extremely rough and unfinished and not that great because, well, this is trying to do something new that will be built up throughout the alpha, whereas a lot of the other classes are entering Legion in a state where they're really not having massive overhauls. So with that in mind, let's just take a look at the core of the new ideas here. So the first thing you'll probably notice is I've got some new buttons down here, and one button isn't there. I'm actually just going to delete some of these because they are talents, and we'll cover them in a bit, but where's Mongoose Bite? Like, the defining part of what used to be the Survival Hunter. Oh, there it is. It's a talent now, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, Mongoose Bite's gone. Mongoose Bite, the talent, actually replaces Raptor Strike, which means that Raptor Strike really is a core of this class. 30 focus, does 1900 physical damage, which is a whole stack of damage. And that's kind of all that it does, really, right now. So that's Raptor Strike. A little bit odd, bit different from what we knew, but let's keep on looking through things. So, Serpent Sting, 15 focus. You fire a poison-tipped arrow, does 440 nature damage, and then additional damage over time, and it's a decently aggressive dot. For me, it does a little bit more damage because of a talent, and it also hits multiple targets because of a talent, but we'll cover that in a bit. We have another new ability with Wildfire Bomb, 40-yard range, 12.9 second cooldown. You throw a bomb at the target, does okay damage, but more importantly, it has a dot, and that dot, as you can see, is a very aggressive one, lasting only 6 seconds, but doing 1400 damage, and it's also one that pulses damage out around 2 targets near it. But then something strange happens. Kill Command. Yeah, Kill Command is here. 40-yard range. So again, we're looking at 3 of our core abilities being at a 40-yard range. This gives your pet the command to kill. It does, like, 600 damage? Really, not that much damage at all. But what's important, though, is that it generates 20 focus. Yep, Kill Command is a generator. Very strange. And it's got a 30% chance to immediately reset its cooldown. This means you can have multiple kill commands chaining into each other, which is a bit odd in terms of how it feels. You know, you run in, right? And naturally you sort of think, oh yeah, I got to open with a kill command. No, you've got to open with a Raptor Strike and then do your kill command, or else you'll just be capping focus needlessly. So that's a little bit bizarre. And just in general, the idea of deprogramming kill command in your head to not be your major dot it's a bit strange, I suppose, that they've just called it the same thing as Beast Mastery, but it does something very different. But that's your core abilities. Now, there is one very strange thing. Aspect of the Eagle. So this is a cooldown, grant you and your pet 10% increased crit on all abilities, and it increases the range of Raptor Strike by 40 yards, and it lasts 20 seconds. So look at this for something that's a bit wild. First, we're just going to apply our dots to the target. We're then going to aspect and start throwing out our Raptor Strikes. And yeah, we're throwing like eagles, spectral eagles or whatever, at the target. You just saw it reset its own cooldown there. Of course, you do still want to keep your dots up, which I was sort of failing at. But yeah, very different look and feel and identity to what we've really been used to. But to properly get to grips with what's going on here, we do need to take a look at the talents. So let's get right into it. First of all, there's one missing here, so we can worry about that at some sort of future date. We've got Terms of Engagement. Harpoon generates 40 focus over 10 seconds, and killing an enemy resets the cooldown of Harpoon. So Harpoon is back. But do you know what's also back? Disengage. So we can, we can harpoon in. If I just target this guy, we can harpoon in, we can disengage out. Overall, this does make you feel very mobile, and you're probably thinking 40 focus over 10 seconds, that's not much, it's only 4 a second. Well, one thing that you will see is that passive focus regen does feel kind of slow right now. That said, I am a level 110 survival hunter that doesn't have an artifact, so I think things will feel a bit faster at level 120. Now, we also have Flanking Strike. Whenever you kill command, your character will also strike the enemy for 830 physical damage and generate 10 focus. That means that it's giving you 40 focus, and you're doing 830 damage, your pet's then doing 572, so that does start to turn kill command into a properly damaging ability, and just the way that works does make sense. It's you and your pet sort of working together, which is decently cool. So that's Flanking Strike. Now, let's get into the more impactful things. Guerrilla Tactics. Wildfire Bomb has now got 2 charges. What does that mean? Well, if you've got 2 targets, 2 wildfire bombs, you can put them together and they'll sort of pulse AoEs out. It also gives you a bit more flexibility in your rotation because you can just sort of pool, have one of those be charging. Of course, it has a dot that lasts 6 seconds, so if you blast 2 of these onto the target at once, you are not playing it right, so don't do that. So that's Guerrilla Tactics. Hydra's Bite. Serpent Sting fires arrows at 2 additional enemies near your target, and its damage over time is increased by 30%. As you can see, there you go. It's a multi-dotting version of Serpent Strike. There'll very much be some encounters. You'll just default to that, I suppose. And then Butchery is back. 26-second recharge, interestingly, though that said, that is affected by haste. Right now, I'm level 110. I probably don't have amazing haste. So again, this will all feel a lot faster once we get into Battle for Azeroth. Well, I mean, get into level, 120. So if I start doing Butchery, it pretty much is exactly what you expect. Now, as an example, you maybe want to pair your Butchery charges with when AoE, packs are going to come in or something like that. Now, if we move on to the other stuff, look, just mainly our sort of utility things. We've got Post-Haste, which is what I'd be going for. Camouflage is back, and you've also got Trailblazer. Your movement speed is increased by 30% when you have been attacked for 3 seconds. So let's just move on to the more impactful stuff, though. So Bloodseeker, kill command causes the target to bleed for 1840 damage over 8 seconds. Now, you're probably seeing something emerge here. If you go with Flanking Strike and then Bloodseeker, wow, you've really powered up what your kill command is. Now, what's also interesting is you and your pet gain 10% attack speed for every bleeding enemy within 12 yards. So, if you go into combat, and let's just hope that this procs for me. There, it procced. Well, you would probably want to put that on multiple targets, which there has given me 2 stacks of Predator for 20% increased attack speed. So that, again, is somewhere where you can differentiate